Welcome to the Deep Dive. This is where we take those complex sources you send us and, well, we really boil them down, find the core insights, cut through all the noise so you can get informed fast. Today, we're diving into a really compelling narrative. Now, it is fiction, but honestly, it offers some startlingly real lessons, stuff about trust, betrayal, and resilience, too.
Oh, definitely. The source material today, it's fascinating. We've got excerpts from a contemporary novel, and it just unfolds this incredibly complex web, personal treachery, professional betrayal, all mixed up.
Yeah.
We're basically looking at the story of this super successful person, Tallie Jones, whose perfectly ordered world just gets completely shattered, and it's because of revelations about the people closest to her.
Right. So our mission today is to unpack this whole thing. We want to pinpoint the really surprising facts, try to connect the dots of all this deception, and, understand the deeper implications. What happens when your trust is just fundamentally broken? You'll hear about this remarkable woman, top of her game, career-wise, and how something that seems like just routine business stuff actually exposes something much, much deeper, much more painful.
It's quite a story.
So settle in. This deep dive is, it's going to be pretty wild. Okay, let's unpack this.
Okay.
So to really get into this maze of deception, we first need to understand the person right at the center. Tallie Jones. I mean, the name itself is apparently synonymous with box office gold in this world. She's 39, directing movies for 17 years already. She's got this Midas touch, right? 2 Golden Globes, 6 nominations, 2 Oscar nominations.
Yeah, it's impressive. Her films, they're praised for mixing, intense action with real emotional depth. They appeal to pretty much everyone, men and women.
But what's really striking, isn't it, is the contrast between this huge professional status and how she actually is personally.
Oh, absolutely. Total contrast. Despite being this Hollywood legend, she actively avoids the whole fame and glamour thing.
Right.
She's described more as a worker, a creator, an artist. A perfectionist, definitely micromanages her craft. But then offset. Torn jeans, high-top sneakers, T-shirts. Looks like the source is a kid almost.
Huh. Even uses a plumber's tool bag as a handbag.
Yeah, the canvas plumber's tool bag. It just shows her focus is entirely on the work, on her family, not on being some kind of star herself.
So really a pure creative type.
Yeah.
Completely unpretentious.
Exactly.
And her family life seems just as grounded, like an anchor against all that Hollywood stuff. She's got this loving relationship with her daughter, Max. Max is a freshman in college, NYU, pre-law. 0 interest in movies.
None at all.
And then there's her dad, Sam Jones, retired lawyer, clearly the family hero. Tallie's mom died when she was in high school, so her dad's been this huge support.
Yeah, the source even mentions he insisted she get married back when Max was born. Tallie was only 20, had a relationship with some cowboy from Montana.
Wow. So the big question this raises, how does someone who cares so little about appearances, who seems so trusting, actually navigate that Hollywood world? A world often built on image and, well, sometimes less than honest dealings.
That's the core puzzle, isn't it? Her integrity seems solid, her groundedness too, but you have to wonder, does that very trust become a blind spot? A vulnerability, maybe?
Especially in that environment. Okay, so while her work life is all about authenticity, it's really in her closest relationships where things start to fray.
Right.
Her personal life, beyond Max and her dad, it really revolves around 2 people. Her partner, Hunter Lloyd, and then her best friend / personal assistant, Brigitte Parker.
Let's talk about Hunter Lloyd first. Hunt. He's a successful producer himself, actually Tallie's co-producer. They've lived together for 3 years, dated for a year before that.
Okay.
And he's described as, easygoing, great cook, Asian, French cuisine. Their lives apparently meshed perfectly. Tallie loves sharing her work talk with him.
Sounds pretty ideal.
Yeah, and he's positioned as more of a businessman than someone involved in Hollywood. And crucially, unlike guys she dated before, he seemed honest, true, and solid. Plus, he'd been burned before himself, a couple of expensive divorces, and supposedly great with Max, too.
Okay, so that's Hunt. Then there's Brigitte Parker.
Yeah.
Assistant, best friend, for 17 years.
17 years. They met back in film school, and Brigitte is, she's the polar opposite of Tallie. Tall, thin, blonde, perfect makeup, designer, everything, those towering heels, even implants, Botox, collagen.
Wow, quite the image.
Totally. Drives an Aston Martin, lives in this amazing house in the Hollywood Hills, pool, the works, loves attention. She's basically the perfect front man for Tallie.
Right, shielding her from the press, handling everything so Tallie can just focus on directing.
Exactly. And this setup, it seemed to work perfectly for both of them. Brigitte always claimed she came from money, had a trust fund.
The trust fund claim.
Yeah, we'll come back to that. And she got tons of perks. Free designer clothes, jewelry, trips, often stuff sent for Tallie to maybe endorse. She was seen as super efficient, happy to be in Tallie's shadow.
And Tallie really trusted her implicitly.
Implicitly. Saw her as the sister she'd never had. Max loved her too, like this benevolent adopted aunt. It was all built on what looked like just complete, unwavering trust.
Okay, so the picture is painted. Successful, grounded director, seemingly solid partner, incredibly loyal best friend and assistant. A perfect world.
Almost too perfect, maybe.
So where does the first crack appear? It starts, interestingly, with something really mundane, a routine audit.
Right, for a new Japanese investor. And Hunt, the partner, had meticulously set up this audit. Their accountant, Victor Carson, he's the one tasked with checking Tallie's financials.
And Victor Carson, he's got his own story going on.
Oh yeah, he's quite a character himself. He's 65, super honest, very conservative in his accounting work, meticulous. But his personal life, a total disaster zone. Divorced twice, paying huge alimony. Currently married to a woman named Brianna. She's 29, described as a trophy wife. Always demanding money, plastic surgery, shopping sprees at Dolce, Chanel, you name it.
Oh boy.
And get this, she's demanding a $5 million post-nup, threatening divorce if he doesn't get it. So Victor's under massive financial pressure. He's desperate.
Okay, so Victor's dealing with that mess, and then he starts looking at Tallie's books.
Exactly. And he finds things that just don't add up. He's puzzled by these regular charges at local LA hotels. You know, the Chateau Marmont, Sunset Marquis, places like that.
Which Tallie says.
She denies staying there with Hunt, adamantly. Then Victor points out this other thing. $25,000 in cash expenses. Every month.
25 grand in cash.
Every single month. Tallie insists it's impossible, says she uses credit cards for everything. And remember, Brigitte handles all the bills, all the purchases. She's the one supposedly keeping impeccable track of it all.
So Tallie's first reaction isn't, wait, Brigitte, what's this?
Not at all. Her immediate thought is, it must be an accounting mistake, or maybe identity theft. She trusts her inner circle, Hunt and Brigitte, way more than the numbers Victor's showing her.
Interesting.
She's described as unconcerned initially. Even suggests Victor's just nervous because of his own problems, or maybe even getting senile.
Wow, that's classic cognitive bias, isn't it?
Yeah.
Trust overriding the actual evidence.
Textbook example. Your belief in someone just filters how you see the facts.
But Victor keeps pushing, right? He's a meticulous accountant, after all.
He does. So Tallie, maybe slightly reluctantly, asks Brigitte about the hotel charges. Brigitte just kind of deflects, pretends she knows nothing about it.
And that deflection, that finally sparks something in Tallie.
It seems so. A seed of doubt is planted, she feels unsettled, and that's when she decides to hire a private investigator. A woman named Meg Simpson, former FBI, known for being really good.
Okay, enter the PI. This is where it usually gets intense.
Oh, it does, and fast. Meg's investigation just rips the lid off everything. It uncovers this series of absolutely devastating betrayals.
Okay, first,
Hunt, her partner. He's been having an affair for about a year with a 26-year-old woman, Angela Morrissey. Angela is apparently a domestic violence survivor, has a little 3-year-old son.
Wow.
And Hunt isn't just dabbling, he's deeply in love with Angela, planning to marry her, even acting like a father to her son.
And the hotels.
Those exact hotels Victor found charges for. Chateau Marmont, Sunset Marquis, that's where Hunt's been meeting Angela, often when Tallie was away working.
Okay, that's bad enough. But you said a series of betrayals.
Yeah, this is the real gut punch. Meg discovers that before Angela, Hunt was involved with someone else for about 3 years, meeting her at the same hotels.
3 years. Who? Don't tell me.
Brigitte.
No, her best friend.
Her best friend for 3 years, which means Hunt was cheating on Tallie for their entire 4-year relationship. And Brigitte, her closest friend, the sister she never had, was the other woman for 3 of those 4 years.
Wow, that's just layers upon layers of deception.
Unbelievable, isn't it? Those hotel charges Tallie saw in her statements for 3 years before they started appearing on Hunt's. They were for Hunt's affair with Brigitte.
Okay, my head is spinning. But wait, there's more about Brigitte, isn't there? The trust fund.
Exactly. Meg digs deeper into Brigitte's background, and the whole facade just collapses. There is no trust fund. Never was.
Curiously.
Her family has zero money. Her dad worked for the phone company. Her own stepmother calls her a pathological liar, says she ripped off her own family, even slept with her sister's husband, and then blackmailed him.
This is beyond betrayal. It's like a whole different person.
Completely. Brigitte, despite the high salary, all the perks, she's actually drowning in debt. Meg even finds past instances of shoplifting, credit card fraud.
So the entire image, the wealth, the background, the loyalty, was all a construct.
A total fabrication.
Hmm.
Designed to enable, well, what comes next? This shatters Tallie's entire perception of her best friend of 17 years.
I can't even imagine how Tallie must be feeling at this point, just completely devastated.
Utterly. So Meg, the PI, recommends she contact the FBI, specifically a senior special agent named Jim Kingston.
Okay, the FBI gets involved. Tell us about Jim Kingston.
He's presented as a really respected professional, widowed about 5 years earlier. His wife, Jeannie, died of breast cancer. He's a dedicated single dad to 2 teenage sons, Josh and Bobby, both athletic.
Does he know who Tallie is, Hollywood-wise?
Apparently not really. He describes himself as a shut-in, doesn't follow Hollywood stuff, but he's immediately professional, empathetic to Tallie's situation.
And what's his focus? The affairs? Or the money?
He zeroes in on the money pretty quickly, that $25,000 a month in cash. He immediately sees it as potential embezzlement.
Right. That was the original discrepancy Victor found.
Exactly. So Jim's investigation is thorough. He interviews Victor Carson first, clears him quickly. Victor's obviously honest, even if his personal life is a mess. Then he interviews Hunter Lloyd.
Confronts Hunt?
Confronts Hunt, who admits everything about the affairs, including the one with Brigitte. He claims Brigitte actually blackmailed him into it. Says he ended it when he met Angela, who he genuinely loves.
Does he admit to taking the money, though?
No, he flatly denies taking any of Tallie's money. And Jim, observing him, looking at his finances, believes him. Hunt's conclusion, not our suspect for the embezzlement. Hunt's got plenty of his own money, rolling in dough, as the source puts it. He didn't need Tallie's cash.
Which leaves
Brigitte. The FBI digs into her finances, her activities, and it all comes out.
What do they find specifically?
They find she misused Tallie's free air miles for herself. They find improper bank transfers, federal felonies right there. Mail fraud, wire fraud, basically using mail or electronic means to carry out the scheme. Abuse of trust, obviously. Tax evasion.
And the spending?
Her spending patterns are just way, way beyond her income, even with the good salary and all the freebies. Her bank account showed these large, frequent cash deposits, which are then spent almost immediately.
That $25,000 a month in cash.
It becomes crystal clear. Brigitte, the trusted best friend, the sister, has been systematically embezzling from Tallie for years. Possibly that entire 17 years they worked together.
17 years? How could it go unnoticed?
Hidden perfectly by 2 things. Tallie's enormous income, which could absorb those amounts without immediate red flags, and Tallie's absolute, unquestioning trust in Brigitte.
Just devastating. The fallout from this must have been immense for Tallie.
Oh, absolutely. She feels sick, lost, like her whole life went down the tubes, understandably.
What does she do about Hunt, professionally, I mean?
She ends her professional partnership immediately. They had another film lined up. She tells him point blank, I don't work with cheaters and liars.
Ouch.
Direct.
Very. But then there's Brigitte. She can't fire her immediately, right?
Because of the FBI investigation. Exactly. The FBI tells her she has to keep Brigitte employed for a while to avoid tipping her off while they build the case. So Tallie has to endure 2 months. 2 agonizing months of pretending everything is normal, working side by side with the woman who betrayed her so deeply.
I cannot imagine the psychological toll of that.
No.
Just pretending day in, day out.
It sounds unbearable. And then things escalate even further, dramatically.
Oh.
Brigitte gets arrested, and confronted with the reality, her true nature just explodes. There's this furious phone call described where she bizarrely admits getting Hunt involved with her, blames him for the financial problems, conveniently ignoring her own betrayal.
Wow, no remorse, just deflection.
0 remorse, and then it gets violent. In a truly shocking turn, Brigitte confronts Hunt and murders him.
She murders him.
Murders him. She eventually pleads guilty to everything. The embezzlement charges mail fraud, wire fraud, abuse of trust, tax evasion, and first-degree murder. She even gives up her fancy house as part of her bond.
This story just keeps getting darker. First the betrayal, then embezzlement, now murder.
It's incredibly dark. And right in the middle of all this chaos, Tallie suffers another huge loss. Her father, Seon, dies peacefully. He was 86.
Oh no, her rock, the one constant.
Exactly. So now she feels utterly alone, except for Max. It's just loss upon loss upon loss.
How did she even begin to cope with all that?
Well, this is where Jim Kingston, the FBI agent, comes back into the picture, but in a different way. He steps beyond his professional role.
How so?
He offers real comfort, real support, sits with her, helps her make the funeral arrangements for her dad, shows genuine kindness during her absolute lowest point. He even confesses to her he hasn't dated anyone since his wife died 5 years ago, but he's really drawn to Tallie's, her genuineness, her strength through all this.
So a potential connection amidst the wreckage.
It seems like it, and this marks a real turning point for Tallie. She apparently hated being called a victim.
I can understand that.
Instead, she chooses resilience, actively embraces it. She actually wins an Oscar around this time for a film called The Sandman.
Wow, even with everything going on.
Right. And her acceptance speech is described as noble, really moving. She dedicates the award to Hunt's son, acknowledging Hunt's good qualities despite everything.
That takes incredible grace.
It really does. She starts taking concrete steps to regain control, fires Brigitte properly through her lawyer, begins the tough process of finding a new assistant, someone described as an unpretentious workhorse, Megan McCarthy, and she throws herself into new film projects.
She's rebuilding brick by brick.
Exactly. And then the new beginning really starts to take shape. Tallie and Jim, these two people who've both known profound loss and betrayal, they start to build something together.
A real relationship.
A real relationship. Even their kids, Max and Jim's sons, Josh and Bobby, they apparently encourage it. They see the genuine connection.
That's lovely.
Yeah. And a year later, the story concludes with Tallie and Jim getting married on a beach in Hawaii. Just them and their kids, bringing these two families together.
Wow. From utter devastation to that, a new family.
A new beginning. And just as a final little detail, kind of ironic, Victor Carson, the accountant who started it all, a year later, he marries a 23-year-old Russian trade show model in Vegas.
Oh, Victor. Seems like he might be repeating his own patterns there.
It certainly seems that way, doesn't it? A little coda to the main story.
What an absolutely incredible journey we've just unpacked through this just maze of trust and deception. Tallie Jones, this woman with so much talent, so much success, her whole world just flipped upside down by the people she trusted most.
Yeah, her story is such a powerful illustration, isn't it? That betrayal really can come from the most unexpected places, often from people who've spent years, decades even, building up that trust. It just throws into sharp relief that difference between how things look on the outside, appearances, versus someone's actual inner character. And how insidious hidden dishonesty can be, especially when maybe it's fueled by things like envy or resentment we don't even see.
And it really hits home how easily we can be blinded, right, by our own need or desire to trust people, to believe they're good, even when maybe, looking back, the signs were there.
Absolutely. We project our own integrity onto others sometimes. But, beyond all the heartbreak, and there was so much of it, it's also a story of just truly remarkable resilience. Tallie rebuilt everything, her life, her career. She even found new love, a new family connection after these just unimaginable losses.
It's real testament, isn't it, to the human spirit's ability to heal, to adapt, to find a way forward, even after the absolute worst kinds of betrayal.
Definitely. So thinking about this, what does it all mean for you listening? Maybe it's a reminder that vulnerability, it's part of life, part of opening up to people, but so is that inner strength we all have to overcome betrayal when it happens.
Right. It kind of invites you to think about how you assess trust in your own life. How much do appearances matter? Are there lessons from Tallie's journey, maybe, about paying attention to small discrepancies or not letting trust become totally blind?
Exactly. How do we navigate our own relationships, maybe even our financial dealings, with a bit more discernment, perhaps, without becoming cynical, of course?
It's a balance. Ultimately, this was a deep dive into the really messy, complicated reality of human connection, but also somehow hopeful in the end.
Hopeful and resilience, yeah.
Thank you for joining us on this deep dive. We really hope it's given you plenty to think about. Until next time.